Wow. Wow, oh wow. That is really, really impressive. Hello everybody, welcome to Chaz Draycott Media, and welcome to a bit of a different video today. Yes, before you ask, this does look hilarious. I'm wearing my GoPro on my head, as you can clearly see, because you are now on board with it. But I'm here to do an unboxing video today, and this is the first time I've done anything like this, so please do forgive me if this is absolutely awful content. However, I think it's a bit important to sort of highlight that there's going to be a bit of a difference to my flight sim videos going forward, thanks to these wonderful things. Hello everybody, Chaz from the future here, or technically from the past. Unfortunately, the GoPro, for some reason, was not working, and all of the footage just looks like this. So I've worn a GoPro for no reason and missed out on the opportunity of unboxing this Airbus stuff. I'm not in a position to re-record this as of the day I'm editing it, unfortunately, but I'll put a picture up here so I can at least talk you through the different elements and try and somehow show you these, but I do apologise that it's not come out as intended. It's the Thrustmaster TCA Captain Pack X. Now this is the Xbox edition, as you'll see here. The only difference I've found is that there's a couple of buttons with A, X and Y on them. I'm not sure if you can quite see that there, but that's literally all the difference I can see from the PC version to these. So I literally just wanted to unbox this thing and go through it with you. I've not opened them yet at all, other than maybe undoing the box just to see it's in there. I don't know what to expect really. I've used these controls before. A friend of mine, Pete Harrod, who's doing his PPL at the moment for his flying license, I'm very grateful for the fact that he actually gave me his controls for a day to try and use, and honestly it makes such a difference to flying, especially when you're in an Airbus A320 as well, because that's obviously the plane I'm going to be flying. So let's open it up, shall we, and see what we get, because the first thing I remember seeing, there's an Xbox Game Pass code thing here. Let's blur that out and get rid of ye. You then get this little sort of presentation piece of paper thingy that shows you what does what and how to install it. You can also have 4 throttles on this as well, so if you have like an Airbus A340 or when the A380 comes out, or any aircraft really that has 4 throttles, you can use 4 of them and make them modular. You can also get the pedals and stuff as well for rudders and headsets and things like that, and even these cool mounts, so you can mount them to your desk so they're a bit lower down. It's really cool to use. Anyway, this is cool. That's a funny little detail. I literally got as far as getting to like this point. That's all I'd seen before now. I really like that. Remove before flight tag. I think this is going to come out, yeah, we're not going to be able to take that off like that, so this is going to come out as one piece. This is why I don't do unboxing videos. I'm so that and my desk's quite small. Let's have a look at this then, shall we? So let's get it the right way around. Let's have the moment of truth, shall we, and uncover the... Oh, that's quite well put together. That's quite clever. There's a little indent in there then where the throttles come. These are stickers. Let's get the stick first, because the stick is not as interested in my eyes, but there you go. Look at that. See, this is what I was on about. So you get A, B, X and Y on here. There's an Xbox button on there for some reason, that way around. You can change it there between PC and Xbox. That's cool. It's USB-C. There's USB in there, which is USB-A. Oh, they just pop right off, do they? Okie dokie then. That's nice, because it means that you don't get dust or anything in them, so I quite enjoy that. Oh, is that some... Oh, is that throttles? The stick's really nice in these, though. It's left-handed stick usually, because it's like a captain's one. It's right-handed if you're the first officer, but left-handed is obviously what most people will fly in Flight Simulator. Oh, wow, that's cool. Left-handed pilot and right-handed co-pilot. I like that. Lovely hat switch. There's that. There's autopilot switches. That's nice. I always forget how many buttons there are on this, actually. You've got 12 there, 2 more, a slider, then you've got these. There's quite a lot to go through with that, so that's nice. These are like rubber stops or something in here to put it on your desk. I don't know. I don't care. Those 2 bits I, quote, don't care about are actually 2 of the coolest bits that come with this entire set. They're little modules that can stick onto the side of the stick or replace the other modules on the stick as it comes as standard to switch it from being a captain's stick to a first officer's stick. And that's obviously the point of the little slider underneath, to change it from left-handed to right-handed. It's really cool. But then this is the main thing. This is the big bit that makes the difference, I think, when it comes to flying, because you've got so many different buttons and inputs and things on here that it really takes a lot of strain off. So before I was using a Cytec X52. If anyone's used one of them before, you'll know that it's not got the most buttons in the world. There's quite a lot of buttons on it, but when it comes to sort of relative stuff to airliners and commercial aircraft, oh god, it's not really an ideal sort of stick or throttle quadrant for something like iFly. Now this is lovely. It's quite metallic actually, which I wasn't expecting. I thought it'd be a bit more of a pale blue. I don't remember sort of noting the colour of Pete's one when I used his, but you've got your flaps here, which is in notches. That's really nice. It's very light though, very easy to press. Throttles, of course, they go to Flex MCT, Toga. You've then got Climb, and then obviously the bit in here is all where the auto throttle applies. You can't push it down until you pick them up and then pop the reverses in, and then they stay up, and then when you... that's so satisfying. The notches on those clicks are really nice as well. You get your air brakes. That's also in notches, so you can just sort of choose to have half or full, 3/4, but it slides really nicely. Gear up and down, I always think that's a really small switch for that, but I think that it's still not so bad, I guess. It's definitely easy to knock that by accident, though, because there's not much travel or play in that. You've got your rudder trim there, which centres back into the middle. You've got your rudder trim reset button as well. Parking brake, you don't have to lift it up like you do in the real thing. Same with the engine on and off switches, but even still, they're very satisfying. They're not straight, though, which is weird. They're sort of angled left. You've got your crank mode as well, so you can crank it and then have it on start, and then you turn it off mid-flight. Auto brakes down here is quite an interesting touch, but I think that's really cool. I think together, that's going to make quite the difference to my flying. It may mean that some of it doesn't happen on screen anymore, which is a shame, so I won't be moving the mouse to sort of look around in the sim, but at the same time, I'll always narrate when I'm doing stuff. But yeah, this is the TCA Captain X pack thing from Thrustmaster, and I think it's really nice. I think it's very pretty, and it's going to change my flight sim capability anyway. Just hope that it makes enough of a difference to you people watching at home for when the videos actually go out with this. I am going to do a flight with this today. Not sure what flight it's going to be or anything yet. I'm just going to get it set up and get it all working and so on. I may have actually rolled this into one video as well and included the unboxing. Might do it as a separate video as well. But yeah, that's that. Not really sure on what else to say, to be honest with you, but thank you for watching, and I will see you in the next one. Have a good day. Hello everybody, welcome to Chaz Draycott Media, and welcome back to another episode of Microsoft Flight Simulator. We're back at it once again today, and of course, if you would have seen before this, I'm using my new controls today. I've got the Thrustmaster TCA Captain X Airbus thingies. I can't remember the full proper name. I've got the stick on the left hand side. I've got the controls on here on the right hand side. Wonderful bit of kit. You won't see the controls unfortunately today. I've not had time to get my GoPro set up and everything, and it's died, and I'm not waiting hours for it to charge. We're going to be flying from Heathrow in London, and we're going to be going up to Edinburgh today for British Airways as flight, I think it's Speedbird 1442, and it's only going to take about an hour and a half. I'm going to maybe try and get this to work with some ATC in the game. See whether we can do that. I've got all the charts and everything on the iPad here as I do, so I can keep an eye on that. I'm just going to try and get it to tell me, well, I'm telling the game where we're going to go to, but just directly, and then we're going to speak to ATC, get the clearance and stuff, and then it's going to tell us what departure and arrival and stuff to do. So I'm going to put that in on the iPad, and in the aircraft my iPad's just fallen over. I'm just using this as a bit of a test flight to get used to these controls. I need to still set them up in the game and so on, so there's going to be a bit of time now where I cut between this and when we get in the aircraft, but do bear with me, and obviously you won't see any of this, so see you in a sec. Okay, let's go upstairs and have a look at what we've got then. Let's get the external power on. My god, that's loud. Nav and logo light we're going to get on. Let's get our batteries on. Let's get these aligning. Get those three aligning straight away. Pumps all the way from left to right. Pop our APU bleed on. Get the crew oxygen supply on. Master switch on. Get some interior lighting going on, shall we? And let's try and start the APU. It says map not available. Obviously all this is going to take a bit of time to get started, and what we want to do is go into... now do we speak to the tower here, or does it have our flight plan in already? Because it'll just say, yeah, okay, so there's literally nothing. Initialization, init request. It's going to get everything from SimBrief now, isn't it? Wonder if we can still speak to the tower though. Yeah, it's not going to give us anything. Okay, so we're not going to have ATC today. We are flight Speedbird 1442. Oh, it's MCDU menu, isn't it? Then it's ATSU. AOC menu. Init press. Or is it already done? Init data request. Then we go into init. Or do we? Oh, I can't remember. It's been a while since I've done this. It's got a flight plan. Okay. It's got a flight plan in there. in-pip, and then EGPH is the arrival. So what we want to do now is going to flight plan, go EGLL, departure. We're going to be departing from runway 27 right on the umlaut departure. Is it umlaut 1F actually? Yep. Going to insert that. Then we're going to go down, 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 down. Flight plan discontinuity. Yeah, we can get rid of you. And then we go to EGPH at the bottom. We go to arrival. And in terms of the arrival, actually, it says that we're on the NP1E arrival for runway 24. There it is. NP1E. Via. Ooh. Don't think it's given me one of those. No via. We'll just go for that, shall we? I can't remember. It's been a while since I've done this. That's ready to go, so that's got working. What is our... Oh yeah, we need to get the iPad on, don't we? That's something we need to start doing. We need to put the fuel and stuff in, get rid of all the coffee. Let's have a look down here. Outdated aircraft version. Ah yeah, you've already told me about that, I don't care. We need to refuel. Let's get our fuel truck. Fuel. Total fuel 2966. I think it said that we needed 5.09 or something, so I think... Ah, there you go. Do that. There you go. Look, that's how much. Estimated time 5.1 tons of fuel, so they're refueling now. Let's get our payload on. Let's get passengers on, shall we? How do we get them to start coming on? Ah, there we go. People are now walking on board. That's cool. Adds a little bit more detail to it. I think maybe we should really have the jet bridge connected. There you go, the jet bridge is now connected. So they're going to be getting on board just now. The frame rate's not too bad, is it, I guess? I mean, it's still about 30, so it's not the worst thing in the world. We've got all of our services ready to go. We'll bring on the baggage services as well, actually, why not? Some weird music going on. Baggage truck. What else do I need to do from up there? I don't think there's anything else, is there? I'm just going to wait for everybody to get on board now. Now, have I got this? I need a button to... Whoa. What is that? Ah, it's that button to reset the view. I remember Pete told me that. So, what are we doing in terms of getting people on board? Ah, you see, they're filling up as they go further and further back. What about the fuel? Have we refueled? Looks like we have, yeah. 5.097 in terms of the fuel. So, yeah, that's all good and done. The baggage truck is loading cargo in. I quite like that. I quite like the immersion of these bits.
Boarding completed.
Boarding completed. Dankeschön.
Ladies and gentlemen from the flight deck, on behalf of myself, your captain, the first officer, and cabin crew, I'd like to take this time to welcome you aboard our flight. We're just wrapping up some paperwork up front here and waiting to receive final numbers from the ground crew, then we'll be on our way. Flight attendants will be coming through the cabin shortly with a very important safety briefing. We do ask that you give them your full, undivided attention as they review the safety operations.
Have I plugged this into the wrong thing?
We do appreciate your business having you aboard this flight. If there's anything we do to make your flight any more enjoyable, please don't hesitate to ask.
I think I'm supposed to plug this into the PC instead of... We've got people on board. We are all good and done and dusted. I think it's time to ask for some pushing back now. I'm going to pre-plan the pushback. We need to actually check what our cruising altitude is going to be today. Flight level 380. We're going to be going runway 27 right, so we need to go this way. Let's get rid of the jet bridge. There's a good idea, Chaz. Oh, jet bridge is going. Cargo door's going to hit that poor bloke. Oh no! Is he just going to stay there? Heck. Should have maybe got rid of him first. Let's get using these controls for the first time, shall we? Because...
The bypass pin is installed. All
yep.
doors and hatches
I'm going to get ready to move my parking brake on my right hand.
The parking brakes are set. You may lift.
Oh, the parking brakes are set.
Parking brake set. Lifting the aircraft.
Oh, the cargo guy has moved now. That's good. Fuel truck is basically parked right in the way.
You're cleared for start and push.
Please release parking brake.
Okay, I'm going to press this with my little control here. Okay, yeah. Yeah, so...
Please release parking brake.
Yes, alright.
Parking brakes are released.
No, they're not. I'm such an idiot. So as I said during the video, when I unboxed these things, you get two little SATA cables, don't you? That connect the outer modules with the two throttle things in the middle. Guess who hasn't connected those SATA cables? This is why you should always follow the instructions and not assume that you know what you're doing. And this is why some people like my videos and some people think they're because I am a moron. Look at all this. So you've got to put... Oh, there's covers there. So you go there. Now are you Oliver? Yep, see, look, you're working. I'm sorry, I know I'm a massive idiot. However, it's very human content, isn't it? We don't get everything right here. New controls that I should definitely learn to use. It's very pretty. It's very, very pretty. We'll get off the ground today, promise. So
it will start in the sequence.
Yep, see, parking brake on, parking brake off. Let's start some engine, shall we? Crank that to the right, which will do that, and then I'm going to flick engine 2. That works. I like it. Okay, while the engines are starting, we need to figure out what lights we want on here. We're going to put our strobe to auto, runway turn-off lights don't need to go on, nose light can go on to taxi. External power should be off now. It is. We're now on the APU. Seatbelt sign and smoking. Don't need wing lights on. Beacon light we'll put on for now. We are going to be pushed back. Yeah, we should have really done all that already, to be honest. Arm doors and cross-check should have been all sorted. Now we're going to set parking brake, which is down here. And then we're going to start engine number 2. Okay, nice. Let's get this view back into the middle, shall we? And we're going to check on Navigraph. I'm actually going to open Navigraph on my PC so you can see what we're going to be looking at. One cool thing they've added into Navigraph recently is this. So if you zoom in far enough on an airport, it shows you the taxiways. We're going to be going out on runway 27 right, which is that runway there. So we're literally just going to taxi down Alpha and then Bravo all the way to the end, and we're maybe going to go no, I don't care. We're going to go left there on Lima and then down there to Alpha 3. Okay, let's get taxiing, shall we? Parking brake's going to come off, so just so you can see this, it's this little thing down here, and I'm going to press that on here. That's so cool. Going to move that switch back into the middle. Now that both engines are started, we're going to put our camera back to the middle, and I'm going to try and taxi this thing. It's already moving on its own, because they do tend to creep on their own. The throttles are so sensitive, though, when it comes to taxiing on the ground. You can see these little blue things that are moving here. I am moving this controller so minutely to get that sort of input. It's terrifying. You really don't need to actually put any throttle on when you're taxiing an Airbus A320. This little button here on my left thumb is the brakes. I'm going to turn gradually to the right. Obviously you would use the pedals to steer this aircraft on the ground, but I'm not doing so. Well, you'd use a tiller actually, which is a weird little thing that I got used to using with the guys when I went to the big simulator, which was absolutely mega, and I would love to do it again. But already using my left hand for the stick here, it's a bit more responsive, and I mean you guys can see it as well, so maybe it's a little bit better in that respect. You don't get to see all the buttons and stuff that I'm pressing down here, which is one of the really cool bits of it. Maybe I'll set a GoPro up or something down here for future videos, hopefully. So just going to make sure that we've got all this here. We've got air brakes all the way up, or down, completely off. Flaps, we're going to bring down to flaps 1 for takeoff. Again, you see the little thing here. Flaps go 1, 2, 3, and then full, and then I've got that on my right hand here as well. Taxi speed is just down there. We're doing 24 knots at the moment. You're supposed to do 30 in a straight line, and then 15 for any sort of mid-speed corners, let's say, or 90-degree corners. 26 knots at the moment. We're staying on Bravo. There's a bit of a chicane in a moment, and then we'll go down to the end. Aircraft seemingly wants to pull left, so I'm actually nudging right quite a lot here. Make sure the flight director and stuff's on. There's cables everywhere here that I need to move because I can't do anything with my mouse. Bit of a fast chicane, admittedly. Sorry, everybody. Oh my god. Well, that was aggressive. It does say we're in aircraft DAFBW, but we're not. We're in GTTNO. Or TTNA, I think it is. So that's Lima. So we wanted to go left here at Lima. The ground textures, I know, are absolutely awful, but my poor graphics card can't hack this at the moment. My poor PC in general, I think it's down to RAM more than anything, because previously the graphics were fine, but it's not had as much energy or brain power to think about what it's doing anymore rather than what it's displaying. That is a tight turn. And what is that taxiway? Stop turning, you absolute shed. What are you doing? I think we've still got quite a while to go, actually. Oh yeah, we've got a long way to go, all the way down to Alpha 3 with this little pink arrow here, if you haven't already guessed. It's always a long taxi at Heathrow. I remember when I was flying to Misano at the end of 2021 to go for the European Truck Racing Championship, it was a good 15-minute taxi that we had all the way down, and a bit of holding and waiting at the end as well. Okay, I'm pretty sure that over there, yeah, Alpha 3 is that one, so we're going to get onto there. And we're going to hold short for a sec, make sure I've got everything all set up and ready to go, and then we can get out of here from Heathrow and get down, or up, to Edinburgh. I'm going to park it here so we can still see those runway signs. Parking brake's going on. Right then, so in terms of our departure out of here, we're going to be going to 250 knots, 580 feet is the restriction. And then we're going to be going up to 3,000 feet. So I'm going to get that onto 3,000, which the aircraft will manage. Speed we're going to get at 250. I'm not quite sure how we can... How do we click that in? I don't know. When we get the autopilot on, we'll tell it to do that. Flight director is on. That is going to be in here. That's going to tell us. We'll do a quick flight controls check, which gives us all of our... Yep, all of our inputs. So you go to basically where the edge of that white box is there. What else do we need to do down here? We need to do initialize weight. Did we not do that? Is that in performance? Oosh. Well, this is just me mucking about. This is a bit of a test flight anyway to make sure we do this. I'm not on VATSIM or anything, like I've said before. I'm not going to ruin anybody's day. I need to move these cables, man, because it's actually hurting my hand. So I think we're all good. We're on flaps 1. We've got no air brakes on. We're on idle on the throttle at the moment, sat here. Everything looks pretty much sorted. I wonder if this works. So you get your auto brakes on here. There's a little switch for it on these controls. Yeah, we're going to go max auto brakes. Flaps to takeoff config, test, auto brake max, seatbelts on, park brake. Can't see anything stopping us right now, to be honest, everybody. So let's get the camera view centered. Let's take the parking brake off, and we're going to take off from Heathrow. So lining up 27 right. We're going to do the usual where you go to about 50% throttle, and then we're just going to build her up and get her going. It's very difficult to taxi like this, still something I'm getting used to. We go to about 50% there, wait for it to build up. And then flex MCT, everybody. Let's go. Airspeed's live. Gonna be looking down there at that screen. Why is the flight director not telling me anything? There's no green line or anything for it yet. We're gonna go V1 now and rotate. Nice. Positive rate gear is coming up. Going into climb almost instantly. Flaps coming up. And we're going to just fly to the flight director now. So I'm just literally looking at this little screen here. TCAS. Need to figure out TCAS situation. We're overspeeding quite a lot here. Need to do the TCAS thing. I can't figure out how to do that right now. We'll do that in a minute. Gone a bit off the flight director. Auto throttle needs to be on. Once the lever in climb, you've got your lever in climb, darling. That's what I forgot. Auto throttle. So easy to forget this sort of stuff, man. We didn't put the landing lights or anything on takeoff either when we left. Again, a bit shoddy from me, but we're up in the air. We're going to level out now. We need to look down here at this screen. We're about to bank around to the right, actually. The flight director has just done that as I wasn't looking. We'll get to LON 10, and then we'll whack her into autopilot. I think that was all right, though, really. Getting used to my controls for the first time. Not needed the charts as much as I would have thought. There you go. Now she's throttling up a little bit. Just trying to sit at about 250 knots because that is the limit around here. Need to just smooth it out now. Follow the flight director. Follow the flight director. It's just little nudges of input. You see what I'm doing here? I'm just sort of nudging it to keep that yellow square there in that little green cross, or to keep the green cross in the yellow square. Let's go to LON 10. We're now going to whack the autopilot on. And all yours, darling. While we do that as well, we're going to take care of the TCAS situation. I'm going to put that on. Are you happy with that? It says nav TCAS standby. Is it that one? There we go. Seatbelt lights can come off now. Takeoff lights can go down. We're going to put our strobe on.
2,500.
Well, we're not descending, are we?
2,500.
Oh, do we need to go to standard? I can't remember. We're just going to sit at 3,000 here, I think. That should be all golden for now. Nice. These controls make it so much easier because everything's on here for you to mess with. We're going to turn the auto brakes off now because they were on full. Let's go have a look outside, shall we? I appreciate it's not the prettiest my game's ever looked, but again, I just need to figure out what settings have changed between when it used to look lovely and now, basically. I think the aircraft might be part of it, because obviously these aircrafts are a lot more intensive than the base ones that you'll get in the game. I mean, the anti-aliasing isn't the prettiest thing in the world, but it's still not too shabby. Let's have a look at the flight plan, shall we? Just see if there's anything that we need to think about. We need to consider our calculator for the descent as well in a little bit. I'm not really sure there's anything else to be doing right now, if I'm honest with you. I sat at 3,000 feet for quite a while. Let's go back on the flight plan and have a look down here. I don't think there's any restrictions or anything. Umlaut, it says 060, so let's go up to 060, shall we? There we go. Let's get it managed by the aircraft. That's what we wanted. Now she's going to climb. Here we go. So we're coming up to 6,000 feet now, and then the aircraft is hopefully going to carry on managing that. 6,000 I think is the restriction up here, and then I think we can go all the way up to 38,000 feet now. So let's do it. Let's turn that to 38,000 and let's crack on, shall we? Go, go, go. Oh yeah, I've got to click the button, haven't I? Oh no. There we go. Right, go. Fantastic. So now we're on the climb up. What's that flashing at me there? Q&H. Yes, it wants to be in its standard, doesn't it? That's that we've got to do. Or is it that? Do we right click it? Can't remember. Why is it not doing this? Pete changed my bloody settings, didn't he? So scroll wheel to do them. And then, there we go. There we go. Now we're in standard. Now we're climbing. And we're on our way up to 38,000 feet on our way to Edinburgh, wherever that is. And we're at that part of the flight now where I can maybe get up, and I'm going to go and get a drink because I don't have one with me at the moment. So I'm just going to do some outside shots while we're in our cruise, and I'll see you in a few minutes. So right now we're just going through 22,500 feet. I have changed the anti-aliasing setting again actually to the NVIDIA DLSS thing because I don't think it makes much of a difference, to be honest, so I thought I may as well have it on. We're just coming up on Timpo as our next little waypoint. Where is Timpo? There it is. And then it's Elvos, TNT, Pol, and Nelsa, Ribel, Ergab, Shap, Abevi, and then InPip, and that's when we start our arrival, going down to flight level 200 at InRev. So we're going to see roughly where we need to get down to, actually. Let's do some calculations. So we're at 24,000 feet. Actually, we're not at full cruise altitude yet, so we don't need to worry about that at the moment. Yeah, we'll do that when we get to it. I don't know what on earth I was looking at before, but I didn't have the right flight plan loaded into SimBrief on the PC. I've got the right one on the iPad. As you'll see here, we're about a third of the way through at the moment, just coming up on Elvos and Timpo. Then we're going to go up past TNT and then Pol. There's a big gap there. Then we go to InRev, and then we're going to choose the approach available. So we're going to be going in on ILS runway 24 arrival, so then we're just going to be going left there, I think, by the look of it. That's all I can figure out for now, anyway. So we go to Abevi, InPip, InRev, Eskdo, and then Tartan. Eskdo and then Tartan. And then is it CLA? That's the discontinuity. Then it goes to CI24. So we're going to go straight from that to that, and then in on the approach. Not sure that's right. Is it FI24 after that? FI24, then EGPH. I'm going to go with that. I'm going to trust that for now, and I'm going to see whether it actually gets us in there. I'm going to leave it to get to the top of the descent. Then we're going to do all the calculation-y stuff to figure out when we need to descend later on. Just hopping back inside the cockpit for a second, and I've noticed that we're just about to get to our cruising altitude of 38,000 feet. We're very, very high up indeed. I think we'll have some contrails going on. Let's have a look. Oh, and that we do. They look tasty, don't they? That's a lovely angle. Look at it go. I really like a British Airways A320neo. It's a really classy looking aircraft, and it's tidy. Very tidy, elegant looking machine. Obviously, being over here in the UK, everyone says, oh, I don't like British Airways, because it's always boring when you see your own stuff. It's like when we go plane spotting with military stuff. You know, you see an RAF Typhoon, you think, oh, it's boring. But you see a Saudi Arabian Air Force Typhoon, you think, oh, that's really cool. But it's the same aircraft, really. It's just that with it being from a different country, it's rarer. So, yeah, you have to appreciate what you get in your own country, and I think we've got a gorgeous livery in the form of British Airways. It's very classy. As you'll have heard there as well, the throttle has now dipped down. We're at 38,000 feet. We need to get to 22,000. We're going to go for angle 5, I think. No. I'm going to go for angle 5. 30 nautical miles before target. So there's 29 nautical miles between Abevi and InRev. InRev, we've got to be at 20,000. And it says we need 30 nautical miles. So basically, as soon as we hit Abevi, or just before we hit Abevi, we're going to start our descent down, and we're going to pop this little dial here down to 20,000 feet. We're coming up to Nelsa at the moment. Still got quite a while left to go. Looking at the charts, as we hit Abevi, we need to go down to InRev at 20,000 feet, about there. We're here at the moment. We're just gone past Pol, up to Nelsa, Ribel, and then Ergab. So still quite a bit more distance to cover, and it's time to carry on chilling out. I mentioned previously that I've got a friend who's an EasyJet captain and wants to train me up on the A320neo. That is still going to happen. I'm going to get proper training from an actual captain to fly this thing, which I'm really excited about. My friend Pete Harrod has really helped me a lot with this as well, and obviously off the back of trying out his Airbus controls, I've ended up with these ones, and I'm very, very pleased with them. But at the same time, I want to make sure there's still that progression to me learning all of this. As you've seen so far, there's still things that I forget, still things I don't do, because I don't follow checklists. I try and do it all in my head, and I know it's a very counterproductive way of doing it, but I'd rather know it inside out than follow it off a list, and I hope that makes it a bit more human and that it's more enjoyable content that way as well. Eventually it will get to a point where I'm just flying through these and just getting everything right every time, and it's just different locations and stuff that we go to that makes the change from video to video. But still, that's part of the fun with all of this. I absolutely love it. I love flying this aircraft. And another point that I wanted to bring up is that there's transatlantic, transcontinental flights that we could do in this sim, but if I'm honest with you, I don't fancy sitting here for 9 hours while the plane flies itself in a straight line. Like, I know that it's not as simple as that, and obviously these smaller flights would be even more interesting with more ATC when we eventually get back on VATSIM and other things. There's just nothing in me that wants to do really long flights. I find the preparation, the start-up, the taxi, the takeoff, the departure, all of that the exciting bit, and then the landing, and then the approach, and then taxiing in and all that, because they're the plane spotting bits that I get to see that I really enjoy as well. And they're the more fiddly bits that are more unique per airport. This bit though, the plane is flying itself in a straight line for ages, and there's loads of memes about it, you know, about flight simmers just sitting there and watching their monitor just do nothing for 9 hours, and it can be true. It's just a bit of a shame in a way. I do really respect the people that do that. I don't have the time for those sorts of flights, I'm afraid. I can do a couple of hours and do these sorts of flights, of course, on certain days, but I just don't have an interest in doing that sort of flight, you know, that's absolutely colossal in that way. So it will be a lot of smaller, maybe European operations that we do, maybe the odd thing over in America at some point. We'll have to wait and see. But most of this is going to be either British Airways hops or EasyJet for now. I do want to learn the PMDG 737 a little bit further down the line, but to learn an entire new aircraft I think is going to be its own little story within the sort of playthrough and within this playlist a little bit later on, maybe in a year or so, because I want to nail this aircraft first, get this right, move on to the Phoenix A320 as well, the non-Neo aircraft, the CEO, which obviously either has the IAE or the, they call V2500 engines, CFM, sorry, just to see what the differences are, because EasyJet operate both, you know, the older ones and the Neos. So, and the same with British Airways. So, yeah, I want to do realistic operations like this for the foreseeable, but I still want you to know that I'm conscious that that progression still needs to be there. I'm still learning, and every day's a school day. But if I'm honest, having these controls makes it so much easier. I really wish that I could properly show you this console on the right when I'm flying. Like I say, the GoPro might get set up for that a bit further down the line, and I can add another channel to the video, whatever. Yeah, this is super cool to be actually sitting with these controls here. Obviously, I've seen them in the large simulator that I went to, and it was ace. So what we're looking at now, we're just getting to Shap, actually. We're going to be hitting a bevy quite soon, so maybe we start our descent down to 20,000 in about a minute or so time. How far out from a bevy are we? It is 9 miles, so when we're about 2 miles away from a bevy, we'll turn this and bring it down. I'm not sure if this is actually... Yeah, so it's not making a difference now until we click it anyway, so we're going to be going down to 20,000 feet, I think it was. Flight level 200, and then in another 35 miles we need to come down to flight level 070 at Tartan. So we'll make that change in a few moments time. Sorry, I was just having a bit of hesitation there to make sure I got it right. I'm going to keep my eye on this screen for a few moments, and then we'll make the change when we get to about 2 miles away from it. Okay, so 2.2 miles on there. We're going to click this button in. The aircraft is now going to bring us down to 20,000 feet, and we are going to begin our descent into Edinburgh. Not quite sure how we can change the angle of this down to 5 rather than 3, but I don't think we're going to descend in time, you know. We've got 16 miles until we get to InRev, and we're still at 35,000 feet. We need to get some spoilers deployed here. Let's go for a quarter on the spoilers. Bring them down a bit. That's this little slider here that I've just brought back. Maybe if we go to half. You'll see there that in the back of the wings, like just along here, the spoilers have slightly come up a little bit. I don't know if any inputs work from here when we're in this view. No, they don't. It's the only problem with the drone camera in MSFS. You can't make any adjustments. Like if I go full stick left, look, doesn't do anything. And that's not because autopilot's on, that's just because of this camera. So we're now descending a lot quicker, but I'm not sure that we're going to descend in time here. We may have mucked up. We need like double the descent distance. Because look at that, there's in rev already, wow. Let me increase the range on that. We are very, very high here for in rev. That is not good at all. So we need Tartan at flight level 070. We're just going to tell it to go all the way down to flight level 70. Yeah, we're still at 31,000 feet here. So we have hugely overshot the descent. I'm not quite sure how. Or is it because I've put angle 5 in there rather than angle 3? Yeah, we need another... Yeah, wow. That really does make a big difference. Okay. Well, there's something to learn for future. I'm not quite sure where that angle applies because we've basically got the nose on the horizon right now. Still, we're going over in rev. And we're about 9,500 feet high here. Still got the air brakes on, so we're dropping speed, or we should be anyway. We'll bring the air brakes down even more. No, the aircraft isn't doing anything with that. Yeah, it's sat at 250. Okay. Well, again, I'm learning. Something to figure out, innit? We're going to get to Eskdo in just a moment. We're still at 27,500 feet. Was that actually helping our descent if I put the air brakes? Yes, it was helping a lot, actually, how quickly we were descending, so we're going to stick with that. Okay, so just getting to Eskdo now. We're just making a right turn here on our continued descent. We're at 24,000 feet still, so we're still overshooting where we should have been at... God, I mean, at Tartan we're meant to be at 7,000 feet. I really have mucked this up, haven't I? Not the best, that. Not the best. Sorry. So not many waypoints left now. We're going to get to Tartan in a minute, which is just ahead of us. We are 22 nautical miles from Tartan, so maybe we'll be alright when we get there, but we'll have to wait and see. In terms of where we are on our charts right now, we're just coming up here, so we're going to go to Tartan, then we're going to just go directly to CI-24, and the aircraft is going to do a very tight turn in towards EGPH. Obviously no ATC today, sorry, but we'll get to that point in future. This was just as a flight to make sure that these controls all work and that I can get myself back into the rhythm here, because since I did that Heathrow flight, I've done one flight with my friend Pete, and we went from Manchester to Frankfurt, but I had him next to me going through all the checklists and doing everything properly, so it was always going to work. We had that weird thing that I'd had before where it throttled up like mad and went steeply up. We couldn't quite figure out what that was, actually. I can't remember. I think Pete did message me about that, but it's not happened today so far. Okay, we're getting to Tartan and we're about 10,000 feet high here. We're at 17,000 feet right now. And we're still doing 250 knots on our way down. Told it to go to 7,000. What are we looking at for the next one? CI-24, we're going to be at 3,000 feet. So once we get to Tartan, we're just going to have to carry on descending. I'm going to change that down to 3,000 now, actually. And we're going to click that in. And that'll be our next descent point. I don't even know. Oh, we haven't put my flipping arrival in. Oh, no. That one. Via TLA. Let's do that. Okay, so this might give us a bit more of a... Okay. I just noticed that it had a really tight left turn on it. I don't know what the plan was there. But, to be fair, TLA is like way over there somewhere, so this might give us a bit more chance to actually get down to the right height here. Oh, is it trying to pick up that waypoint there? Yeah, I think it's going to go to TLA and then it's going to loop back around and go into there. Let's go direct to the next one. It thinks we're going Eskdo then Tartan. Let's go direct DO28M. Yeah, okay, so she's going to circle back around now and we're just going to rejoin that path. That's fine, that puts us down to the right altitude, so I'm going to put that back up to 7,000 for now, and then when we're on our way towards CI-24, then we're going to go back up to, sorry, down to 3,000. Yeah? Again, Chaz has made a bit of a janky job of it, but we're doing alright. We're going to put our seatbelt signs back on. We're not going to do anything else, are we? We don't need to do anything else at this point. Let's put our landing lights on to retract. Nav and logo light stays on. Don't think there's anything else to happen up there at this point. I should probably do checklists, but again, that's something I'm going to start doing in future. We're now down to 8,000 feet. We're coming down to flight level 070. Got auto throttle on and everything, so I don't really need to do much right now. I'm literally just moving around and looking around with the mouse. We're going to level out in about 90 degrees time. You can see the path that we've done there. So we're going to DO28M when we've gone all the way around in this circle here, just to get ourselves back on this flight path. And it is by... oh, we need to be at flight level 060 here anyway, so let's get that in. That's down there, so it knows. So we're going to continue descending now to that point. Where do we need to then get even lower than that? So 4,000 at 284 ED, and then 260 ED at 3,000. So 284 ED, that one. We need to be... actually, can you put the... straight, there we go. Right, that shows us now. So 4,000 by there, then 3,000 by the next one. Then we're going to turn onto the approach into Edinburgh. So we've got it back on track. It was a bit janky, but we're doing it. We're doing it. We need to go into this QNH 29902. Sounds good. Right, so we need to be at 4,000 by 284 ED, so now we're going to crank that down to 4,000. Click that in and the aircraft is going to manage that. It's doing its thing at the moment. You can see the revs here, so it's actually at about 50% throttle, but it's not flashing at me telling me that's what it wants to do. So there's a difference. So it flashes at you when it's something you need to do, and then it's green when it's something that it is doing. That's one of the main things to learn here. That's one thing that me and Pete spoke about a few weeks ago, is knowing when the aircraft is telling you to do something and when it's informing you that it is doing something. There's a big difference, and it is definitely something you need to learn. Let's check the localizer on this as well, so we can try and get the ILS intercepted. I think it was James Salt that was watching my videos and saying that he looks forward to seeing me try and learn ILS approaches, and if I'm honest, James, I don't even know what there is to learn at the moment. I'm that much of an amateur. So we're going to gradually bank left a tiny bit here to 306 ED, and then by the time we get to the next one, we're going to want to be down at 3,000 feet. So we're going to be at 4,000 here. We're just getting there now, 4,400 feet. Then we're going to be at 3,000, what's that, 2,100? Flight level... 210 knots actually is the next speed, and then yeah, then we're coming into land. So it's 3,000 and then down. So 210 knots is the restriction, but where is that? 3,000 feet, 210 knots at CI24. Okay, so when we hit 284 ED, we're then going to bring the height down to 3,000 feet. We're then going to turn on to the final approach. It's not quite joined up. I think there's a discontinuity there. Doesn't look like it. No? Alright. Well, now we're going to hit this one. We're going to tell it to get down to 3,000 feet. We're going to go flaps 1 at this point as well, because we're quite slow, so I'm going to drag that down here on the controller on my right. Ah, no we're not. Because we're over-speeding for that. Let's tell it to come down to 210 knots, which is our restriction. Still quite a bit going on here, isn't there? So we're just getting to 3,000 feet now. What's the aircraft going to do now? This is the interesting bit for me, because I'm not sure where it's going to go at this point. It's going to go left slightly, and then we're going to go straight onto CI24, I think. Is it just cutting the corner completely? Is that what it's doing? To FI24. Going to bring the flaps down, try it now. Yep, we're going to bring the air brakes in a little bit, slow it down. I think we've cut that corner. Is it going to level out now? Yes, it is. So we're going straight to FI24. Approach phase. Realistically, the plane should land itself. Why can't we bring the speed down here? There we go. Sorry, that's me not knowing the controls very well there. Okay, so we've got the air brakes in. We're going to bring our gear down at this point. We're only on flaps 1 at this moment in time. We should really go down to flaps 2. It's going to moan at us for just a moment that we're overspeeding, but we've still got the air brakes on. You know what? We're going to take it out of autopilot in just a moment. It looks like it's going to land itself. It's going pretty well. There's the runway just ahead. We've got 2 white, 2 red on the PAPI, so you won't be able to see it from the video. It will not give us that high resolution. It's still dropping speed. going to tell it to go down to 160 knots. So the aircraft will bring it down to idle now. Oh, I'm not sure how much of this I want the aircraft to do, you know. I think I'm going to fly this thing in now. What do you reckon? Should I? I mean, it's looking good. We're flaps 2 at the moment, no air brakes. I've told it to do 160 knots. I might leave this and see what it does. Because that is looking very tasty. 2 on the puppies, 2 white, 2 red. Looking very good.
1,000.
It's bringing her down. The aircraft's auto-throttling. Oh, the nose is dropping. We're right on the diamonds. She's looking tasty. There's a bit of wind for it to compensate for. I'm not touching anything here. I've got my hand is on the mouse. Oh, I'm not sure. I'm not sure. Is she going to do it? I'm really excited because I'm not touching this.
500.
Too low. Terrain.
Yep. All right.
Too low. Terrain.
Yep, I know. No one cares.
Too low. Terrain. Too low. Terrain.
That's just come up with land, so
Too
I think
low,
it's going to do it.
terrain.
It's going to auto land it.
Too
Let's get
low,
the
terrain.
auto brakes on low.
Too low. Terrain.
Spoilers
Too
not
low,
armed.
Terrain.
Yes, they are.
Too low. Terrain. Too low. Terrain.
Is it going to do it?
Too low. Terrain.
Go on, girl. Butter it. Go on. Butter it. You know, I'm not going to touch it. Oh my days.
Retard. Retard. Retard.
Oh my days.
Retard.
Yep, no wonder it was calling me names. Off the throttles and wow. Wow, oh wow. It did it. That's impressive. That is really, really impressive. I didn't touch that the whole time. Okie dokie then. Let's just take a second to park up here for just a moment. Wow. Right then. I know I didn't do any of my lights or anything like that, so we're going to just completely turn all them off. There's no point. Beacon and strobe, we'll just leave them on. We'll just not bother messing with any of that. Go on our charts, and we will zoom in now to have a look at the airport. Where do we usually go? I don't know where British Airways would go, actually, at Edinburgh. I assume they'll go somewhere along here to some of these smaller gates. Let's take 26, shall we? So we'll be going down Alpha, then turning right onto Lima, and then onto Golf. Okay? I normally do have a camera set to sort of raise me up slightly here, just so I can see what the nose is doing a little bit more, but I'm not going to go for that this time. I'm just going to maybe set that up between flights or something a little bit further down the line. But how impressive was that? The plane landed itself, and very nicely. All it needed was for me to actually come off the throttle, because I still had it in climb by the time that we were touching the floor. I'm super impressed though. It's very easy to use these controls. It's so lovely to just have that integration, and I feel like I've learned quite a lot from what Pete and I did the other week. I'm really, really happy with it, especially the landing phase, going through pressing LS, then getting the localizer, and then approach. Just going from left to right on that panel makes a big difference. I've still got a bit to figure out with the speeds and when I'm managing it and when the aircraft isn't, and knowing what clicks to do and stuff like that. But I'd say that's not a bad job at all, really. Really enjoyable flight, and I love this stick. This stick feels so much more natural than the Cytec X52 that I've got down there, the fighter control stick. So we've got the terminal building off to our right hand side over there. There's a Delta, is that an A220? Don't get any of them here. Whoa, it feels like we're going fast all of a sudden. Ah yeah, I forgot that when you're looking around you don't have active controls. I think we're going to go right here. Well, I've decided that we are doing now. Alpha Lima Golf. So we're going to carry on around here and then go to the right. I was really zoomed in on that taxiway actually. It looked like it was a lot longer a taxi than this. So hard to control on the ground like this. Why are all these little Cessnas and stuff here? Did we say we were going to take gate 26? Okay, there you go. So we've got gate numbers on the ground. That makes life a lot easier. Hopefully 26 is not taken. Seems like there should be a building there, but there isn't. 23, 24, 25, and yeah, typically 26 is taken by some CRJ thingy. We'll park next to the Delta A220 that definitely shouldn't be here. We're going to get very close to that thing though, aren't we? We might be alright actually. just almost come to a stop, or let's come to a stop. See how central we can get it on the yellow line. I've really enjoyed this flight. Thoroughly enjoyed myself. Hope you have too. It's been really good fun. We probably won't get a lot of the vehicles and stuff that we want here. It does just come to a stop before you actually tell it to. What are we looking like compared to that? I'd say we're just about there. Maybe there, I'd say. Let's try and check that. Parking brake is going to go on. I need to do that when I'm in the plane, actually. There we go. Oh, we are absolutely nowhere near it. Yep. All you got to do is just take it off idle. And then... there? Oh my god. We're gonna have it there. We're gonna have her there, but look at her. All good here at Edinburgh. We need to get the spoilers up, flaps all the way up as well. Parking brake is on. Everything is all sorted on here. Let's have a look in here as well. Let's get he's ready to go for that thing by the look of it. Can't think of anything else to do other than to shut the engines down now, which I am going to do on this console here. So I'm going to go for engine number 2 to go off first. And then we're going to go to turn off engine number 1. I forgot to turn my APU off again. That's something that I've done this entire flight. External power, we're going to go to external... oh, external power is already on. Whoops, let's go to the iPad. Everyone's already unbuckling. I've not turned seatbelt lights off, you cretins. Everyone's going to stand in the middle of the aisle now as if they're going to get off the aircraft faster than everybody else. Let's try and get a fuel truck. Let's get the cargo door up. Baggage truck. Ground power unit as well. Let's get a catering truck and all. Let's see how this looks. Oh, actually, what about payload? Are we going to get people off? Begin deboarding. So clearly we don't get all the services in the world here at Edinburgh. There's no jetways, there's no ladders, stairs, anything. Don't know why you'd want a ladder. But still, I really enjoyed that flight. That was a hell of a lot of fun. It went really smoothly. I think the landing was phenomenal. That really impressed me, that did. And hopefully it's impressed you too. Hopefully you've really enjoyed yourselves. These controls are fantastic. The immersion that they bring is just on another level. I would highly recommend them, you know, even if you use a substitute for something else, and even if you're not flying the Airbus A320neo, if it's a similar aircraft of, you know, a similar size, even a 737 or something like that, and there isn't anything specific for the aircraft type you fly, get these, because it just feels absolutely awesome. But that, unfortunately, is all I've got time for today. Thank you very much for watching. I really do hope you've enjoyed yourselves, and I'll see you again very, very soon.